Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. We were jamming to the song. What happened?
Yeah, you killed it. You killed it too soon,
You
sir.
killed it too early. Me and Christina were rocking it.
You loved it.
I love that. Am I the only one that can't hear him?
I
Yeah,
can't
Steve,
hear
you're
him.
muted.
How about now?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Okay. Good. All right. Well, sorry about the rough technical start here. I had all kinds of issues logging into my computer. My keyboard was a wireless keyboard. It was out of juice. Delayed this morning here. So who's got something good from the weekend? What's going on? What's good in the world? Keely.
So I have a fun share. So yesterday I had a tag sale, and I said, you know what? So I wore my realtor t-shirt. I had a tag sale. I had not as many people as I want come by. I think because so many fairs are going on. Anyway, I did have this one couple, really great couple, come by. I'm like, hey, where are you guys from town? You know, we're getting into it, and they just retired, and they're actually going to sell their house because we have an RV and we're going to go tour the United States. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's my dream. That's great. Anyway, long story short, nicest people. And I'm like, hey, why don't I do like see what the a market analysis, stop by your house and just like take a peek so you know what you're dealing with. And so they were like, oh my gosh, that would be great. So I was like, okay, super. So tomorrow I'm stopping by their house and going to bring them some comps and we're going to talk and hopefully put their house on the market. So I thought it was a cool win.
Yeah, that's an awesome one. That is an awesome win. I know one, one of my strategies when I was just trying to produce was kept a notepad in my car. And obviously if I saw for sale by owners, I would jot those down. But if I saw an estate sale, I would literally just randomly pull in tag sale, estate sale. A lot of times there is some moving and shaking going on, and they're just starting to think about the downsizing. You know, a lot of times it's completely nothing. But estate sales, especially, a little bit different than just a tag sale. So if you see a estate sale, I would say just pop in, see what the heck is going on. I would guess I probably listed 4 or 5 of those over the 450 transactions that I've done. I bet you 4 or 5 came from an estate sale. So keep a notepad in your car, or if you're digital, just notes app, jot down your FSBOs, especially if it's in a marketplace that you want to be working, and don't be afraid to have conversations. The worst thing is nothing comes out of it. So great share this morning. Who else has got something? Keely, apparently you are the only one that had a good weekend.
I doubt that, but
Everybody else is a bashful salesperson. We got secret agents over here.
I think we started playing the James Bond theme.
Martin, you got to raise your hand, bro.
So I had a client that was a referral from another agent who couldn't do the area, and met with the woman in April. Really good rapport. Let her know about the buyer's agreement that was going to be coming. Talked about it, and then it seemed like she ghosted me. Like I reached out, I called, I texted, I emailed. Hey, I don't know if something got crossed in the wires. If you have a question about the buyer, like as soon as the buyer's agreement came out, ghosted. So I was like, okay, but I kept reaching out. I got a call from her on Thursday or Friday. That's probably Friday. That she's been out of the country with a family issue and that she's happy to sign the agreement. So I changed the date, sent it out, signed, and we showed about 8 or 9 houses this weekend. So sometimes it's not that they are actually ghosting you. Sometimes shit happens and you just got to stay in touch.
That's a great chamber. Yeah, chamber. That's a share from Amber, a chamber. I wouldn't even say sometimes. I would literally say most of the time. That's all that's going on. And unfortunately, we get the monkey brain going on, where it's just telling you the worst possible outcome. I would say most of the time, there's just something else that's a bigger priority in their lives. So love the follow up. Love the fact that you were finally able to connect. So a couple other Martin, what'd you have? Did you meet James Bond over the weekend?
No, I'm saying secret agent. You should play the James Bond thing.
Oh, I know. I should. In the future, when I have a DJ a sidekick, that can come in with a like a well-produced show, and they can just play a little bit of sound clips here or there. That would be great. All right, I saw another hand go up. Somebody else was willing to share. Carolina, what do you got?
I mean, you already know I texted you, but
Yeah.
I just got an offer accepted 30 grand under asking because the listing agent just kind of sucked. They, I don't know, just weren't really working for the seller, I guess. I think it's just a really older veteran agent, thinks they know what they're doing, but they're really not. They were like, oh yeah, I have open houses coming up, but never listed them in the MLS, only put them on their Facebook. And it's like, who's going to see that? So no one showed up. And then we submitted an offer on Thursday. We were told, it's kind of low. We'll get back to you. I was told there were other showings, another open house. And I'm like, okay, fine. Like, whatever, we'll wait. And then yesterday I got a text that was like, oh, send your highest and best. I'm like, oh, you got another offer? And then the agent not only said yes, but then told me what brokerage this offer came from, which I thought was like a weird overshare. But anyway, I submit the same offer, just added an escalation clause into it because I'm like, I just felt she was full of shit. So she calls me literally 45 minutes after I submit the offer. And she's like, oh, we're accepting your offer. I'm like, oh, okay, at what number? She's like, oh, the original amount. I'm like, oh, funny. Okay. So if they had just counter offered us instead of lying about having another offer on the table, they would have gotten us up because my client was willing to go up another 19 grand. Obviously, I don't need to tell her that, but if they just countered us even at asking, we probably would have met them halfway. But instead, she decided to try to get us at a higher number by lying. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great share because it really, when you're in this position as a seller, if you really don't have much else, asking for highest and best isn't the way to go. Right. And then obviously, if you're on the buy side, what a great opportunity to use escalation. If you think the other side doesn't have much, right, this is a perfect use of escalation clause. So just poor negotiating on the seller side. Great use of your toolbox, Carolina, on the buy side. So that's awesome. Out of curiosity, the 30K under, was that like what you believed it to be market? Were you really coming in a little low? Just curious.
I think that it can appraise at the amount it was listed for, but it was just very poorly presented. Bad photos, no staging. I mean, there was like a computer sitting in the bathroom, and you're looking at a high price point here. So it was just crazy the way it was presented, which is why people weren't coming through, because at that price point, you have a certain standard and expectation. And I talked my client into looking at it, and I'm glad I did, because now she feels like she got a deal. And everyone's happy.
Awesome. Awesome. And when you guys have a share, please keep your hands up. I think I saw Wendy and maybe Jen, but I forget. So yeah, go ahead. And then it also keeps the order on my screen. So keep your hands up when you got them. Go ahead, Jen.
So, I was just going to talk about a win, but it's not so much a win. I have a client that I finally met, put an offer in. We're putting it in today, actually. So we'll wait and see. But then I did have showings over the weekend, and there was an open house. And my mom was with me, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, let's go look at the open house." And my mom's been looking for like a little lake house, and it was on a lake. So we went in, we looked, and long story short, there's this client there, and he's asking the two agents all these questions, and he's very particular, and he's pretty rude. But he went up to them, and they were talking with me, and he's like, "What are the riparian rights here?" And they're like, "Excuse me?" And he's like, "The riparian rights." And they look at me, and I go, "What you own, like into the water?" And I start talking and walking the buyer through what he would have to do, because they had no idea. And they were telling them that you can have any kind of boat there, and they didn't even know the rules. And I was like shocked. And so then, but then the buyer was like yelling at them. He goes, "You need to get your act together." He was so rude, and just, it wasn't right how he was doing anything. But I just I felt good because I'm a newer agent, and I knew what a riparian right was. That's all.
Yeah, the one time you will use that from your licensing exam just came out. I love it. I wanted to pull something out of your initial story. You said there was a client that you finally met. So it sounded like there was some time that elapsed there. I just want to understand what happened there, and how did you finally meet him?
So it was actually two of them. The first one for the showing, it was always his dad that was meeting me, because he and his dad are making the purchase. So the communication was primarily through him, but he could never meet me. So I had the contract signed with the father, because that's who would come out and I would bring into the homes. But I finally met with him, and they're going to continue working with me, but they do it house by house. They're very particular. It's there's a language barrier too, but they're most likely putting an offer in on the house I showed them, and then the other couple, I met them for the first time, but I actually got the lead over the weekend. They don't have an agent. They're first-time home buyers, and I actually was able to introduce them to Semper. They loved Semper, and Semper got them approved on Saturday, and we're putting the offer in today.
That's awesome. So one house, one showing with those guys?
One showing with them, yeah.
Awesome.
The other guy, no. But yeah, one showing and pre-approval right away. It was really good. Nice and smooth.
Yeah.
So far.
So something else you said that I just want to make sure that we are doing accurately moving forward. It sounded like you are showing the dad, but the eventual buyer is going to be the son on the other client.
No, it will be the father. He's going to be
Okay.
on it as well. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right, because just let's reiterate, because the point I wanted to make is we've had this come up where you've got, let's say the father is going to be the buyer, but the son is the one that, he can speak English or something, let's just say, and the son is the one that's doing the showings. We do want to get a buyer's agreement with the actual client. So in my scenario, the father, and then, and then just put additional parties that will be viewing homes in the additional comments. Hey, the son, the wife, and the daughter may view properties on my behalf, and then we're covering our bases. So just wanted to kind of hit on that. That has come up in the past, but I don't think we've talked about it on this call. So just make sure we're getting buyer's contracts with the actual party that'll do the buying, and then listing other people that might do showings. I also just wanted to comment about veteran agents. Carolina brought something up this morning where you got a veteran agent that didn't know what they were doing. A lot of times, I don't know if they were just never taught, or they've forgotten, or what the case might be. I almost feel like half the time the veteran agent is worse than your average agent. And I'm going to give you another scenario that came to me from one of our agents where we've got a broker, somebody that, and my account has probably been in business for over 25 years, running a brokerage, eventually sells the brokerage, had listed a condo. And one of our agents called, they've got a buyer for the condo, but the buyer has potential need where they might need to rent it for a period of time. So the long-term plan is to own this condo, but they might need to rent it. And so it was a basic question to the listing agent of, hey, do you know what the rental rules are at this condominium complex? And the response was, we have no intentions of renting this. We're only looking to sell it. And just to not be able to understand the difference of, like, there are rental rules, how many of the units can rent out, how long can you rent it out, can you even rent it out, right? Was looking at condos down in Florida. Some of these condo complexes say you can rent it out after your first 2 years of ownership. You can only rent it out for 6 months at a time. So you can't do Airbnb or week to week. You can only do 2 weeks at a time. Right, there's a lot of different rental rules. This is a very basic question to understand. So, just taking listings and not going and getting the information that would be pretty normal to ask just makes you look unprofessional. And you should know these things. You should do your homework when you're taking a listing and have this information, especially the longer you've been in the business, you should start to understand what kind of questions come up. So if you're newer and you get a question like that, just be like, hey, I'm not really sure. Let me look into it. Ask a mentor or leader or something. Totally okay to just say, hey, I don't know. But that kind of a response, very odd. So please don't get bullied around or get nervous around experienced agents. Wendy, you are next.
Hey, sorry, I went to grab my coffee. Good morning. I had an appointment this weekend. I was talking with a FSBO who actually wasn't expired at one point, but they're clearing their days on market and then considering what they're doing. So she says that they may use me. I don't want to, say that I have it, but I have a pretty good feeling. I'm in there, but it just depends on where they decide to go with it. My point being, so I gave her some information. Of course, I went through a listing presentation yesterday as best I could, but I had given her some information about the company anyway. So she went on the website and she was just telling me that it was not like super user friendly. I guess she plugged in some information that she was looking for, and she said that it kind of came up with some random homes. I guess, let's say regarding the bedrooms, she asked for 3 or 4 and she came up with whatever. But anyway, it was just a comment that I know I sound very vague about explaining it, but she just didn't seem really super excited about the website that we have. And I was like, oh, I'm just trying to tell her, we're a high level marketing company. We have all the tools necessary. And then she went on the website and looked at that. And I said, yeah, I've been on there before. And I know it pulls properties, that it highlights. But to be honest with you, Steve, I'm not really sure. I think that I explained it as more of a search engine and not so much.
Well, here's the way that you want to. Here's the way that you want to explain it. There shouldn't be any issues with search in any of the markets that we service, right? So the way our website works is it's tied to the local MLS in the markets that we serve. Now, if you search for property in a market that we don't serve, we don't have the IDX feed coming in, you could definitely have some issues. So I would just get some more details from that client. I would, anytime somebody's telling me about a technical issue, whether it's a client, one of our agents, I always just try and go and do it myself. Hey, what page were you on? What were you trying to search for? I do the search myself and then see if I come up with the right results. Because a lot of times it's user error. So I would,
to be honest with
that's
you,
what I would ask.
Tried. Yep, I have tried, and I did convey to her, I just didn't want to get too stuck on that moment because it was not going to help. But I have been on the site, and I did sign up myself, and and I have actually felt like I couldn't find a property before from the MLS. Sometimes I flip back and forth because I need to see more details. Sometimes the Ylopo cuts off, like it doesn't finish the comments. So yeah, I mean,
anytime you as an agent are finding, hey, I'm searching here on our site and I don't find this property, but I find it in the MLS, definitely reach out and let us know. And then we
Okay.
can go to Ylopo and see, because it's a direct feed from the MLS. It should work exactly the way the MLS does.
That's-
So yeah, if you're
yeah.
finding a glitch, just reach out. Just do a
Okay,
screen
I will-
capture of, record your screen. Hey, I went here, here, and here. This was the search, and it didn't work.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll do that. I think
Awesome.
she was looking for more of a site with our listings here in Florida, that type of thing. And I was just, kind of like, oh, okay. But to be honest, I don't know if you've taken a look at our site down here. I don't know if it has much. I'll go back on and look, but I was looking for myself and I was just like, I wasn't really knocked over by it.
Yeah. No, it should have absolutely everything that the MLS has. So, I mean, the goal of Ylopo is to be a Zillow competitor. So they need to look as flashy as Zillow. They need to have the same data as Zillow. So that's what I would do.
Okay, thank you.
Amber, if you can reach out to Alvin and just do a screen record, say, hey, here's the search that I'm doing, and submit it to Alvin, and then he can work with Ylopo to see why that search didn't work. But you've got to show side by side. Hey, here's me searching on our site. Here's me searching on the MLS. It doesn't come up with the same results, and then they can look into it. It could be, a lot of times the MLS might change a field, so they've got to map all of those fields. We are in, I don't know, 7 different MLSs. So if an MLS changes a field, changes the way they display something, some of these sites have half baths, quarter baths, full baths, what's counted as a full bath. So it can get a little sticky, when you have a third-party site trying to accommodate, 7 different MLSs in the data feed. So if you see discrepancies, just record them. Amber.
Gotcha.
So 2 things. One was a comment on how, longtime agents and brokers. So my listing, I got 3 offers from 3 brokers. I got I've been doing this way for 35 years type of thing. And I will tell you, they were some of the worst offers that I've ever received. Not full packages, not reading, not adding disclosures, et cetera, et cetera. But that's neither here nor there. But I'm just saying that, just because you're a new agent doesn't mean that you know less. I think people as they've been in the business longer, they kind of get lazy and they don't do, continuing ed and things like that, and don't stay up on the new protocols. Second thing is, I had a buyer who bought in September with Semper, and obviously they sell usually a lot of their loans, sold to Mr. Cooper, called me freaking out because it said they were canceling their homeowners because some wires must have got crossed somewhere. And Mr. Cooper didn't end up on the list. They just sent paperwork over to Semper. So just for new buyers, kind of letting them know that if their loan gets sold, to make sure that they reach out to their homeowners and have that changed.
Amber, did you reach out to Semper about this on best practice?
I haven't. It literally just happened last night. So it was a Sunday. I reached out. The person that they have their insurance through is my agent. So it happened to be my daughter, actually. So I reached out to him and, he said, that's weird. I mean, the first year gets paid outright. So, and Semper is listed, obviously. But then within just a month, their first month, their new loan came from Mr. Cooper. So I can definitely reach out to them to let them know. And I'm not sure who is supposed to do
Yeah. We do so many deals a year, and most mortgage companies sell their loans, right? And so I haven't heard this happening too much. So I feel like something automated is happening behind the scenes with the insurance to either, when it gets sold, the Mr. Coopers of the world that are buying or reaching out, maybe they're provided with the insurance information. I don't know exactly how it's working behind the scenes. I don't know if anybody on the call happens to know, but if there was no communication, I would think we would hear this issue more. And it just doesn't seem to come up that much. So
Yeah, I don't know
I
if
don't know
people are just figuring it out on their own. This just happened to be my daughter, so she had messaged me, freaking out that her insurance was getting canceled, and I said, "Relax, it'll get fixed. You have till October 1st." So, it may happen more than we think, and we just don't know because they have had a house before. They're not first-time home buyers, and they're like, calling them up and saying, "Listen, this is why is this happening?" Rather than reaching out to me and freaking out. So it could possibly be happening
Yeah.
more, and we just don't know.
Yeah, it's a good share. Does anybody have any experience? Anybody have with their own mortgage? Hey, I used a mortgage company. It got sold and the insurance was taken care of, or nope, I had to go and fix the insurance. Anybody on the call have firsthand? Jeff and Linda?
Hi, so something similar to this just happened to me, and I got the notification that my insurance was being canceled, but I was prepaid for the whole year, and so I'm scratching my head, and so I made a phone call to the insurance company, and they said it was not for lack of payment that I was being canceled, but it was because I failed to sign some sort of rider agreement with the insurance company. And I thought, that's weird. I sign everything you send me. And I said, okay. So it was just as simple as they needed to send over some sort of an agreement that I had failed to sign completely. And so therefore my insurance is not being dropped. But similarly, if they were saying, you have until whatever, that I have a couple of weeks grace before I was going to be dropped. So now I'm just double checking with everybody to make sure, calling the mortgage company. Hey, I just want to make sure I'm all good with my insurance. Just, calling everybody to make sure that everybody's satisfied and that nothing will happen come October 1st.
Good share. And anybody else? Okay. Amber, if you don't mind, reaching out to Semper and seeing, is this something we should be notifying, our clients? Hey, if you do see a change in your mortgage company, you should be reaching out to your insurance company, or is this something that's automated? You still with us, Amber? Or did she have to drop off? I think she dropped off. We'll work on it, and I'll report back to you guys what we find. So we didn't really have much time for open Q&A. Does anybody have anything that's just absolutely pressing on a deal that they just need some advice on? Okay. All right, 9 o'clock on the button. Great start to the week. Hope you guys have a kick-ass Monday, and we'll be right back at it tomorrow morning at 8:30. Take care.
Thank you. Have a great day, everybody.